My 27F half-sister, 8F, is very violent towards me and hates me. I have to babysit her, but I'm going to give birth in 3 weeks and I can't take it anymore. I apologize in advance. This post might be a long one and unfortunately English is not my native language, so there are probably thousands of grammar mistakes, sorry. My parents divorced when I was about 10 years old. My dad simply left and I've never heard from him ever since that divorce. When I was around the age of 15, my mom met a new guy and married him. He and my mom have 2 children, aka my half-sisters, 10F and 8F. The 10-year-old is a lovely girl and I really like spending time with her, but the 8-year-old is a literal demon. My mom recently got a new job, so both my mom and her husband are working in the afternoon now, which means that someone needs to take care of the girls when they come home from school. I was asked by my mom to babysit them and I agreed. She helped me a lot during my pregnancy, so I wanted to do her a favor. Here's where things get complicated. My half-sisters are very spoiled and basically get away with everything. However, 10F can behave herself properly, whereas 8F cannot. She screams for hours, bites me, hits me, scratches me and literally hates me. I wish I knew why, but I really don't. She has always behaved that way towards me even though I've always been nice to her. Last night, she even called me a bitch and then screamed herself hoarse for 4 hours. Yes, 4 full hours of screaming. 8F's violent behavior is stressing me out really bad and I wish I didn't have to babysit her, but I promised my mom I would do it. My mom and her husband know of 8F's violent behavior towards me, but they don't see a problem with it, because they experience 8F's tantrums as well. She's significantly less violent towards my mom and her husband, at least when I'm there, but she shows a very similar behavior. My husband, 29M, is constantly in a state of distress, because he wants me to rest at home instead of babysit my half-sisters at my mom's house. He's not happy about this situation at all, but I can't stop babysitting my half-sisters, because there is no other option. My mom can afford a professional babysitter, but all of us agreed that that's just not a safe option during a pandemic. What am I supposed to do? I can't keep babysitting, but I also can't stop right now, because someone has to watch the girls. I really can't take this anymore. I'm tired and stressed out and on top of that I'm going to give birth in 3 weeks. Too long didn't read. My half-sister is very violent towards me and hates me. I have to babysit her, but I'm going to give birth in 3 weeks and I can't take it anymore. Your half-sister needs help, a kind of help you cannot provide. If your mom can afford a babysitter and won't do anything to prevent you from being hit, then she will have to pay for a babysitter. You are under no obligation to put yourself and your child in danger. What if she hurts your baby? You are already too stressed and honestly, your baby comes first. It's going to be a hard conversation but you have to tell your mom. Your mom and his partner are enablers and if they really love their child they should have her talk to a therapist. 8F's violent behavior is stressing me out really bad and I wish I didn't have to babysit her, but I promised my mom I would do it. What? You promised to babysit, not to manage a child that needs inpatient care. You should feel fine saying this isn't what you signed up for and that you can't do this anymore. You should not do this anymore. What is your mother and father's childcare plan for once you give birth and are not able to babysit anymore? That child needs serious mental help. This is nowhere near normal for a child to do, especially an 8-year-old. This is not your problem. You need to stop babysitting. Either your mom changes her schedule around or her husband does or one of them quits. I personally would have quit the first say your half-sister laid her hands on you. You aren't a bad daughter or person if you break a promise. This is something serious. Your responsibility lies with your baby and your husband. Your mother's responsibilities lie with her 2 daughters and her husband. Do you wonder why they won't get a professional babysitter? I bet you it's not cause of the pandemic. I believe it's because they know they would quit ASAP if they were bitten or hit. Still, that shouldn't fall on your shoulders. Seriously ask yourself this, What's going to happen after you give birth? Are you rushing over there straight from the hospital with the baby? What's to stop your sister from potentially harming/killing the baby? How can you rest up and put the baby down for a nap with a constantly screaming child in the next room? How can you go to the bathroom but leave your baby in their bouncer or bassinet with 8F roaming around unsupervised? Bring the baby into the bathroom with you. What if you need a C-section and must stay home and rest? What if you're holding your baby trying to warm its bottle and your sister bites your arm that's holding the baby? There's too much at stake here. Please listen to your husband and just say no. I don't know what kind of situation you have with your mother or if you feel responsible cause she stuck around and raised you, but you are not obligated to pay her back. She did what she was supposed to do. She birthed you but does not own you. Rest well and good luck with your baby. I'm F21, torn between wanting to explore easier relationships and worrying he might be my soulmate. M21, even if I'm sad/frustrated a third of my time with him. What should I do? Though we've been together 2 years, first everything to each other for 6 months and a lot of the first 1.5 years, we were perfect. Our families even like each other. Heck, my mom and his mom text like friends. His mom treats me like a daughter almost. We've had a few rough patches and most of it stems from his chronic mental illness. He hid it from me for the first 6-ish months, and once it reared its ugly head, I was so committed I couldn't fathom leaving. It comes and goes. It got bad 3 times for a few weeks. The 3rd time was this summer and I just got so angry and miserable, and I'm still mad deep down. Mad at myself for not leaving 6 months in, cause now we've spoken marriage and kids when things were good. It's only been good 65% of the relationship. I haven't really wanted sex for about 4 months and I feel myself doing it to be nice. On some level, I want it but I just can't get aroused enough to even physically do it now. I've never orgasmed with him, so maybe that's some of it. In the last few months I've daydreamed of meeting someone without his issues and I feel like trash writing all this. I still enjoy cuddling him and kissing, but I get annoyed by him so much easier and think no, this can't last often. I think he's picked up I've lost interest, but I really wanted to come back, as he noted how unenthusiastic I am about sex and the future. I feel terrible as he has gained maybe 40/50ths of a pound this year and he thinks he's gross now. He's still really cute, just less hot, but that's not my issue. I worry that leaving him would be crazy cause all relationships have problems after all, and maybe most of mine will have happened in the first few years. I watch romantic films or listen to Daydream and yearn for how I used to feel for him or how I could feel for someone else. What should I do? Too long didn't read. I don't want to lose my BF, but I may have lost feelings. What should I do? He's not your soulmate. It's only been good 65% of the relationship. Don't even consider kids at your age with a partner who is struggling with mental health. As long as you're questioning your feelings, the relationship is not in a good place. Having sex to be nice isn't fair to either of you. Move on. I worry that leaving him would be crazy cause all relationships have problems after all, and maybe most of mine will have happened in the first few years. So basically you're afraid to leave him because you're afraid that there will be issues with other people anyway. Listen to yourself. You're only with him because you're used to him. Don't leave him because you're afraid of other relationships. Leave him because you don't want to be with him. You never once mentioned anything about being on your own. Are you afraid to be on your own? You'd rather be in shitty relationships with problems than be on your own. Your attitude says it all. Focus on yourself and find the good things about people. Find the people you want in your life and don't worry about the shitty things until they happen. Don't jump into relationships and be on your own. Are you happy with him or just attached? Hear my words. Break up. I was in a similar situation, and we are no longer together. I am the happiest and most confident I've ever been. Leave before you waste more time. You'll thank yourself later. The fact you're even considering wanting to leave should say enough, trust me. Hi, I'm in my 40s. The only things I regret from my 20s are staying in relationships where I had these kind of doubts. You have several very good reasons to leave, but the main one is that you resent him and aren't happy. I know it's hard to leave someone you grew up with and learned relationships with, but I know you can be happier and find a better match. It will be hard for a while, but then exploring and dating and building your life the way you want it will be amazing. As far as orgasms, you need to help teach your partner what to do to get you there. You need to take some control sometimes to make it happen. I promise there are men who will be excited to explore that with you, but you have to let them know. Don't go years with someone without figuring this out together. My GF, 24F, wants me, 29 meters, to say my memory of an event is wrong without proof. My GF, 24F, wants me, 29 meters, to say my memory is wrong without proof. Partner wants me to say I'm wrong despite no evidence. Hey everyone, I just wanted to see what everyone's take on this was, as it struck me as unhealthy and I wanted to honestly know if my behavior seemed unreasonable. A couple weeks ago my partner and I had a conversation where we agreed on a way for me to diffuse a situation. We agreed that if she says something that doesn't rub me right, I'll say that doesn't tickle my fancy. I thought a few days later we had a newer conversation where I asked, would you be okay if I heard something that seemed rude and just say that sounded rude? Somewhere in conversation the other day the order of events came up again and she told me that the conversation on would you be okay if I said that sounded rude was prior to the one where we agreed on saying that doesn't tickle my fancy. Not after. I admitted that I could be wrong, because logically it makes sense, but that's just not how I recall the conversation going. I used a poor phrase of we have different realities because of different recollections. I also clearly said I could be wrong in my recollection. She asked me to apologize and admit for being wrong multiple times, not possibly being wrong. I told her I wasn't comfortable saying I was wrong on something that is a memory, but that I can agree I could have, and maybe even likely been wrong, and would love to work towards a solution. She decided to break up because she deserves to be with someone who could admit when they are wrong. I'm looking for some feedback/thoughts on whether or not my actions seemed unreasonable for the future. Thanks in advance. TL, Doctor, my girlfriend wants me to say my memory is wrong without evidence. Wow, you can only speak in pre-agreed phrases, and you're okay with that? They had not yet agreed to a phrase that would allow him to disagree. Why did you guys have to agree on a phrase for you to diffuse a situation? What do you do if a situation is not diffused? She gets really emotional and defensive when I say things like, hey, that statement was off-putting. If your relationship entails what phrases you need to use in certain situations, then you need to deeply reflect on the whole thing. Imho, it's good that you guys broke up. Literally, what did I just read? ? Somebody was tickling somebody else but someone was rude about it, or something like that. This is absolutely fucking bizarre, dude. She seems to get a weird, sick joy out of controlling your vocabulary. This is not the sort of bullshit anyone should have to put up with. This would 100% be a deal breaker for me. Consider her breaking up with you a blessing in disguise. If she tries to get you back, say sorry, that is not on the list of pre-approved vocabulary, and ignore and block.